Important to me is being able to face life. Because if you see, life's always unpredictable.
So that people start to see that confidence is really more about uncertainty and working with that uncertainty than it is about preparation.
So, the common misbelief people have is this confidence is a one step process. That, if you have prepared something and faced it, you're done with confidence. So, you prepared for your meeting, you went there, you presented, and you're a confident person. But where the real confidence comes in? When that projector stops working and you don't have an answer for it. And the first thing that is going to hit you is fear.
It's so important to have places where children get to learn these things that honestly most that I've met haven't. And so to create a space where that's possible, I want to learn more about your approach with that. Would you speak to that?
So impromptu speaking is, you give a topic, a random topic out of anything, it could be from science field, current affairs, maybe a quote, anything. And the child is supposed to speak on it. So initially when they come, they are very scared. I think many of them don't even land up saying anything. However, the goal here is not to make them perfect. I think that's what we are getting at and trying to make them understand also. It's not about being perfect. It is about being able to respond.
Okay. Well, welcome back to the Healing You Method podcast. This is a place where we hold warm, embodied, trauma-informed conversations that are grounded in the truth that all healing is relational.
Yes, this space is where we slow things down, listen beneath the surface, and explore stories and tools and truths that help us come back to deeper connection with ourselves and with each other.
So I'm Gloria Leibecker.
And I'm Gail Donohue. And today we're joined by Dipti Kothari Jain, an impromptu speaking coach who works with children, teens, and adults to help them build confidence and trust in their voice and respond more freely in uncertain moments. What stood out to us in Dipti's application is that her work is not really about performing perfectly. It's not about that. It's about helping people stay present, regulate fear that they may have, and learn how to respond even when they don't have a prepared answer.
Yes, and it's so aligned with what we care about here, because really so much of healing is about really developing the ability to stay with ourselves in the unknown.
Yes. So Dipti, we're very happy to have you with us and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gail and Gloria, for having me here today and
Yeah.
having him discuss something that resonates at that level of fear and healing.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Well, before we dive in, we do love to begin simply. And so just asking you to take a moment and just to check in and see what's most alive for you as you're entering this conversation with us here today. What feels important to name? Just, I don't know, at the threshold of having this conversation.
Important to me is being able to face life. Because if you see, life's always unpredictable. You never know which corner of life suddenly something will happen so unexpected. And we are at that point in fear and anxiety because we cannot predict what is going to happen. And many of us go through this mental scare that what if it happens? And if it does, what will I do?
Mhm.
So, that is that thing which has always been on my mind. And I wanted to figure out something that can help me and it can help people as well to, navigate
Oh,
through life.
Yeah, that really does resonate with me. In fact, it's a place that I visited quite frequently, and I'm very passionate about it too. And that's why I got so excited when I realized what it is that what you speak about, what you help people to recognize. That's really beautiful.
Mm.
So one of the things that you shared is that confidence isn't built by rehearsing perfect answers, which I will say that's something I've done, you know. And it's really developing the ability by learning to respond in those uncertain moments, right? So
Yes.
let's begin there and tell us what that means to you. A little, just flesh it out for our listeners.
See, most of the time, what happens is, we go all prepared. Okay, I'm going for this presentation. I have this script. I'm going for this meeting. I have the script. I have a very normal day in front of me. But then suddenly, a traffic jam,
Mm,
or, a child suddenly falls sick and you're supposed to reach work. And those are those moments when, that prepared script of yours that you prepared, that, okay, if this meeting goes wrong, I don't know what to do.
Mm.
And in those moments, you're wondering what to do. As I was just saying, how will I handle it? And most often than not, we prefer not taking up these responsibilities because of the fear that, if something goes wrong, I will freeze.
Mm.
And it would be really embarrassing in front of people. And I have seen so many people have experienced this so early in childhood that it stays with them even by the time they reach adulthood. So, the best way to actually navigate through this is to train yourself for uncertainties, as you always say.
yeah,
Oh,
go ahead, yeah.
okay. Oh, that's so interesting because yeah, you can't predict what's going to happen with life. Oh, that's yeah, I love what you're saying there. And so, what kind of you do you have some things that you practice and you encourage people to do in order to um, well, I guess maybe there's even the mindset I'm wondering about practicing. Is that something that you work with as well so that people start to see that confidence is really more about uncertainty and working with that uncertainty than it is about preparation?
I do use it. So, the common misbelief people have is this: confidence is a one step process. That, if you have prepared something and faced it, you're done with confidence. So, you prepared for your meeting, you went there, you presented, and you're a confident person. But, where the real confidence comes in? When that projector stops working and you don't have an answer for it. And the first thing that is going to hit you is fear. Okay, now what am I going to do? There's
Mm.
going to be anxiety, there's going to be worry. And there are a lot of things that start crashing into your nervous system.
Mm.
But in that moment, the framework which we ask adults as well as children to use, and I have seen it work most of the time, is pause. The first thing you could do is pause.
Mm.
Because in moments like these, the first reaction is your mind starts spinning out of control. So the first thing you could do is pause. Because when
Mm.
you pause, your mind calms down. So we call this framework as PSR: pause, structure, and respond. So once you pause, your mind calms down and it tells you all is fine, don't panic, this can be handled. After that, when you come down to structuring, you can structure, okay, this has happened, what can I do? You think of a plan on the spot, and now you're able to respond because somewhere your mind has understood that this was just my body's response to fear. That panic is not in a personality, it is just a body's response. So once you structure, and now when we respond, the fear goes down. And now you feel, okay, there is something I can do about it. So this framework works most of the time. So, something goes out of ordinary, out of script. First thing, just give me a moment. Let me think. That one sentence is a game changer because now you are in control, not your fear, not your anxiety, and your nervous system is ready and back on its feet. So that's the framework we use.
Yes. Well, I really love the way that you have that reframe, and it really aligns to what Gloria and I work with as well. We sort of sometimes refer to it as the power of the pause. And so I'm curious that what I think I hear you saying, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, that you think that or like a lot of people think that confidence is something you're born with. But what I'm hearing you say that it's built in those moments when you don't know what to to say, that life comes and something different than what you planned happens, and when you're able to pause and then stay anyways.
Yes, indeed. So confidence, you're not born with confidence. So when we were born, all of us were shy. So shyness is not something like a trait we are born with. It is, as simple as my body has never experienced this. That's why I'm shy. My body. So, fear comes from this place that two ways. Either you have never done it before or you don't know how to do that thing. As simple as when we were younger and when we went to play school, we were so scared. And when we passed out and graduated, oh, we cried buckets. So it doesn't mean that fear cannot be overcome. That shyness was there because we have not experienced play school before. We have not experienced the confidence that comes from, okay, I know how to do this. But when through the years we went on going to school each day, we faced it each and every day, we became confident in it. And that's why we say confidence is trainable. If you keep facing that thing over and over again, and this is just like one example. Probably when you people would have done your first podcast, your first few podcasts, you might have felt that, okay, is this going to work? Is it not going to work? So it is not like the confidence was not there. It's just that you're doing something new for the first time. So that little, okay, this is something new. It is just a nudge. But we tend to think it is fear and, I'm not good enough and I'll not be able to do it. And I have seen so many people quit at that point. And I'm happy to see, I think you people have almost come to your 300 plus episode. So it must have been a beautiful journey of confidence for you people in those unscripted moments.
I love how you're bringing this to the forefront and speaking about it and also acknowledging that we all experience this, and it's okay to feel, quote, shy, however we want to label that's part of being human. And being able to speak about that is important because that's most likely a lot of people, nobody talks about those things that are obvious. And so that's really important because then people, they internalize that there's something wrong with them if they do that.
Yeah.
Which you're sharing that's not something that happens. And so, what I really love here is I want you to talk about how you work with children, because that's such an important, I think that's really holy ground. It's so important to have places where children get to learn these things that honestly most that I've met haven't. And so to create a space where that's possible, I want to learn more about your approach with that. Would you speak to that?
Yeah. With children, I think it is an experience I love training them for. Because when they come, as we were just speaking, they're so scared, they're so shy. And more than any of it, they're just so scared of the judgment people are going to have for them. That's why they don't talk. And as I was mentioning, there are enough episodes that happens in school, at home, with relatives, those leave those small marks in their mind that they are not good enough. Someone would have asked them, how did you score? Why you're not good at dancing? Why you're not good at singing? Any of such things. And these small, small things leave a dent in their mind. And that's when they start fearing standing on that stage or in front of people because of that negative impact or perspective that has been formed. So, what I do is we put the kids in front of a group of children. That is more of like a simulation training, I would say. And we create these happy memories for them because we want them to operate out of place of happiness, not fear. So, every such negative incident that has happened, we rewrite it with every positive experience they have on in my classes or in our classes, and in that stage. And that is just part one. As I said, confidence is a two-step process. Many people don't understand. So once those happy memories are formed, and we are little confident performing or talking to people in these prepared kind of scenarios where they are maybe saying a story, or if there are teens, they're sharing something about their life. And after that comes these unscripted moment handling, which we've been talking so much about. So once the base and foundation of prepared is done, is now when I build the unscripted moments. And the whole journey of unscripted is very interesting. You people must have felt, like when you're doing this podcast, it is another form of impromptu, is it or not? It's unscripted. You both are just connecting and speaking with us. And that's how we move to level 2 or impromptu speaking for kids. And in impromptu speaking, you know how the simulation training happens for pilots, plane pilots or the paramilitary. So they teach you the theory and they put you out there. So what I do is I create these small, manageable, uncertain moments for these kids where, they have to stand there and respond and answer in a more controlled environment so that they feel, okay, I can handle these uncertain situations. And the best way to do that, impromptu speaking. Because have any of you ever done impromptu speaking in terms of taking a topic? It's very commonly called table topics in Toastmasters, where the community I belong to. So impromptu speaking is, you give a topic, a random topic out of anything, it could be from science field, current affairs, maybe a quote, anything. And the child is supposed to speak on it. So initially when they come, they are very scared. I think many of them don't even land up saying anything. However, the goal here is not to make them perfect. I think that's what we are getting at and trying to make them understand also. It's not about being perfect. It is about being able to respond.
Yeah.
So when they come, maybe the first time they don't answer, the second time they don't answer, third time, fourth time, slowly they come to that space, okay, at least one sentence, then 2 sentences. And slowly it goes on. And one day suddenly they realize, okay, throw the question at me. I'm not scared anymore. Let's take this challenge. And that moment is like, defines all the effort I have put in the last so many days to just see them say, give me that topic. Let me see what I can do with it now. And that is like, very satisfying.
Yeah, I can imagine it is. And what I love, what I'm hearing you're doing, it's very similar to what I do when I have people out here with the horses. It's not scripted for sure, but it's experiential learning. You're inviting them into a container that they can experience in their bodies that neuroception of safety. So their body can tell that it's a safe place, but that it's new enough so it's stimulated stuff in them. But then when they move through it, they have a different outcome. And so I love that you prep them first so they have happy memories or they have positive life reinforcing experiences that gives them a foundation to be able to step into that container of, okay, it's next level, right? Because we always have stories we tell ourselves about that. That is so, I love that. I love experiential learning. Um,
Yeah, and Gloria, what was coming up for me in hearing Dipti explain how she works with improv and children was that it really sounds like you're step by step in a very, very safe way, helping the child build self-trust and helping them again in a very safe way to find their voice and it to be okay. Would you say that that's part of what you're working at there?
Yes, in fact, Gail, self-trust is a very important foundation stone of this entire thing we are doing. Because when children express and trust their voices, they don't bottle up emotions. The
Hmm.
problem is, the moment the child stops speaking, or we as even adults stop speaking, we start getting scared because emotions are getting bottled up. And as Gloria nicely said, we tell these stories to ourselves. In fact, today I'm an impromptu speaking coach, but in my childhood, trust me, you will find me only in one corner of the room. And if there is some new person who comes to my home, I'll be the first one to run and lock the door. The journey from there to here, and in those years, so much was bottled up. Maybe I'm not good enough. I don't know how to speak to people. I don't know, how to manage this fear, this anxiety, which comes with, all these unknown situations. But over the period of years, as I kept going out and showing up in these platforms. Every time it improved one bit. I wouldn't say drastically overnight, I am this, a public speaking champion, or a person giving a global talk. But every time I went out there, that one step better. And then I fell down 4 times. But yet again, another courage to go back there, one step at a time. So every time the child expresses themselves, and parents here play a very important role, because many
Well,
times.
actually, I was going to ask you because what you're saying here and how you described working with children, I was thinking, oh my gosh, this type of thing with the container that you create and you set for the children to be in. Oh, I thought how wonderful that would be as a parent. And I'm thinking of myself if I had known to do that more with my children to have helped them find their voice in the ways where they didn't feel compared to others or shamed. And I was thinking, yes, as a parent, I can still take this advice and teaching that you're providing for us and think about integrating pause, even though my children are grown now, but integrating pause into my own life with them. Do you have any
Pause,
thoughts?
in fact, even we as adults can actually inculcate, not only as children, because we tend to get scared. Suddenly,
Mhm.
most often, likely than not, I'm coming for this podcast and, coffee just spills all over my dress. It's a possibility. Or the internet decides to glitch. Those things always happen. And how much ever we think, oh, I'm prepared, if this happens, I'll do this. If this happens, I'll do this. And still, life has a way of surprising us.
Mm.
Things we have
Yeah.
not expected. And then that pause actually works.
Mhm.
Just calming down for a moment. Okay, let me think. This has happened. What do I want to do next? So that really works wonders as we put pause in it.
Mhm.
Yeah, I really love this because this is really, it allows us to be human and it kind of normalizes it, but it really it addresses the fact that it's not about performance. This is really about building that capacity. And what I call this is the practice of allowing and acknowledging what is. And so you're offering a container that starts to name these different moving pieces that we all experience, but most people don't talk about. And you're talking about them, and then you're inviting them to come in, actually play with it.
Mhm.
Because when you can play with something, it creates that neuroception of safety, and you start to experience something new, and that is what develops the confidence, and that's what develops that capacity. And so what I'm seeing that does is it allows people to begin to experience something, especially if you do that with childhood. What an astonishingly different journey you might have through life then, being able to stay connected, self-connected when the pressures of the world come in, because the pressures are there. The unexpected happens constantly.
Mhm.
That's just amazing. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Pressures are like part of life. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I just want to make sure you finished. But well, I was wondering, was there something that happened for you either in your own personal life or what you were seeing in the children or families that made you realize that this work mattered so deeply? If there's something there that you have that you're willing to share to us with us, because I understand that you have co-founded Speaking Ninjas. I love that title. That's such a wonderful title. And that you are wanting and have a vision of empowering young voices and creating big impacts. So I was just wondering, could you share with us a little bit of what happened to lead you there and what happened for you?
Again, I think my life is always two-step process. So initially, when much before starting Speaking Ninjas, I was introduced to speaking. And me as a person, I have always been a topper at school. So amazing marks. But the problem was, in spite of being a topper, somehow when it came to people, I could not speak. Or if someone asked me my opinion, I used to be very scared. I'm like, what do I say? Will people resonate with what I say? Are they going to pass judgment? And a lot of that was happening. And after some time, after I had a child, with him, I started seeing the same thing. Smart, intelligent, his friends, in fact, even in his class, super smart, intelligent. But when it came to not giving those perfect answers which were rehearsed in their school or something, they were not able to share their opinions. And that got us thinking, why is that happening? When they are so smart academically, why, when it comes to sharing their feelings, their expression, or their emotions, why are they getting stuck? And that is what led us to founding Speaking Ninjas. It has been founded with my co founder, her name is Babita. And we decided that, it's time to give children that platform and that safe space where people are not going to judge them for the opinions they share. Because all of us have opinions and we have a right to it. And nobody has the right to judge us for it or make us feel small for it. And that's the reason why, just to get children to get a space where they can safely express, not be scared, and to manage that fear and anxiety out, Speaking Ninja was founded. But after a few years of staying into Speaking Ninjas, Toastmasters came into my life. And when I went into Toastmasters, it's first time I saw people doing this impromptu speaking, and I was awestruck. I'm like, how do these people talk on topics so random? They must be like encyclopedias, is what I always used to think. Like, how do they do it? And I felt, okay, this has to be brought into the life of these children, because more than having prepared answers, life is constantly testing us with these unprepared moments. Suddenly,
Yeah.
teacher in class will be like, Dipti, what's the answer to this question? Or,
Yeah.
a friend will be like, teasing me and I don't know how to respond. So
Mm.
we wanted to give these safe space moments, and that's why impromptu speaking pulled me to it. I wanted to learn how this mechanism needs to be bought. And in fact, today I use impromptu speaking as a tool to help children and adults manage that fear and anxiety which comes with life and stage. So the
Yeah.
tool is very simple. You just pick one random topic, no preparations, no Google search, nothing. And you
Yeah,
just
I know.
talk about it for 1 minute. No preparations.
1 minute.
I know it seems like a very simple thing. How can this, even work? But trust me when I say it, over a period of time, something magical happens. Because
Yeah.
see, when,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah, it sounds like you that this for you, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, but this impromptu speaking is a life skill rather than a stage skill and left for going to a show and watching people do impromptu speaking. It sounds like it has, yes, it helps with your communication, but your whole life, and because it's interconnected with our nervous system, it is a very, very sophisticated and important tool to use as a life skill.
more of it's a life skill, I would say, because of one reason. See, when we were discussing earlier, an emergency happens or a sudden situation happens. As I was in moments of fun saying there is no Google search. Actually, there's no Google search. If you have a medical emergency, not really a Google search is always available. Or maybe you're in school and the child gets bullied by someone. There's no Google search there. So these impromptu moments, it is very important to stay calm under pressure. To be able to respond to those uncertainties and not react and go hitting back. And that is what impromptu speaking does. Because, the dynamics are same. A random situation has happened, impromptu, a random topic is given. In life, you don't get to prepare. In impromptu, also, you don't get to prepare. And yet, in both those situations, you have to calmly respond. You cannot just react and lash out, why is this happening to me? Why all this happens to me? And, crib and cry. So that's why impromptu becomes a life skill for every situation in life. And if you practice this tool of one topic a day, over a period of 6 months, you will see yourself not fearing this uncertainty as they call anymore. You will not fear, like, you people have been running podcasts for so long. I'm sure somewhere or the other, some glitch must be happening. Probably something unexpected must be happening. But now we will manage it somehow. It is manageable. And that's the kind of confidence we are looking at for children and people who train for impromptu speaking to have that confidence of, I can manage it. I don't have the answer yet, but I can manage.
What I love you're saying is that it's actually a practice. So when it's a practice, it's something, it's like you get up in the morning. When you put your shoes on, you might need to tie them. That's a practice. We didn't used to know how to tie our shoes. We had to learn and practice until we finally could. Now we don't need to really think about it. We just do it. And so when you can practice something like that, you can begin to embody it. And when you can embody it, then it's yours. It's always available to you, no matter where you go. Because no matter where you go, there you are.
Yeah.
And that's I love the beauty of that it's a practice, but also that it's something that's been mindfully attended to. So really paying attention and even developing your skills to notice the opportunities to practice. So it puts you in more of a forward momentum rather than the withdrawal that we talked about that we had when we were shy. And so I don't know. I'm just going to ask Gail to speak about that a little bit from the neuroscience perspective, because I just think that's beautiful. And I didn't expect for that opportunity to come up. Can you talk about that capacity in the nervous system there, moving forward or withdrawing, and how that practice changes it?
Yeah. Or do you want Dipti to talk about that,
I was
right?
asking you to talk about the nervous system on that.
Oh,
That's a
okay.
key piece that I want our listeners to understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, with the brain in the palm of the hand, probably.
Yeah,
It could,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah. From Daniel Siegel, he has a model that is it's great to use for adults and children, but it's called the brain in the palm of the hand. And what that is, and you can think about it as I demonstrated here, but here I am. For anybody that's just listening, I'm holding up my forearm here, bent at the elbow. And my part of my forearm here that's the representation of my spinal column. And down where my elbow is, that is where your tailbone is. And it comes up to your wrist, and where your wrist bends, that is the representation for your neck. where your neck moves on your spine. And if you take your thumb and put it across the palm of your hand, this representation is your limbic system. And our brain stem is 500 million years old, and our limbic system is 300 million years old. So these are the systems that keep us alive. We don't have to think about breathing. We don't have to think about blinking our eyes or doing our digestion. So this has evolved to keep us alive. Now, if we take our fingers and we curl them over our thumb, we have the representation for our prefrontal cortex, our prefrontal lobe here, our thinking, executive functioning brain here. And this is younger. This is only 64,000 years old. So it's very young. So it can't, as much as we like to think it, it can't outthink what is going to happen in this 500 and 300 million year old system. Now, in our limbic system, we have the safety, our amygdala is making sure that we're safe. And if it has any indication that we're not safe, with some of the examples that Dipti has given us today, what happens is our lid flips. And I mean, it doesn't disconnect, obviously, but metaphorically, it disconnects. And what starts to run the show is a loud voice from our limbic system, our ancient system, to keep us safe. So exactly what Dipti was saying, we don't have the engagement of our prefrontal cortex, our thinking brain, to answer the question that's been asked of us or deal with that unusual life situation that's just arisen. So that's probably I spoke a little bit too long for that, but that's a little bit of an explanation of the
interesting.
brain in the palm of the hand. It's great visual for kids especially, and adults.
And the next piece, though, that when you practice what Dipti's saying,
Yes.
you're creating a new connection. And the new connection means that when you pause, like she says, it gives that moment to bring this back. And when you practice that, you develop a super highway, a new neural pathway.
Yeah.
And that is then that forward momentum. You don't have to disappear anymore. You get to stay engaged in the conversation, and that's where your confidence. Maybe tie that in for us, Dipti. I mean, does this resonate with you, with what you teach the children?
Yes, in fact, as Gail was just explaining the whole thing, I was just rethinking what we teach these kids, and we call it as neuroplasticity, as you were saying. So, as Gail was saying, our brain is pretty ancient. So, when something sudden as this happens, it just runs in to protect us. And we mistaken that to be like fear, that I have frozen, I'm not good enough. But as we were speaking about impromptu speaking, when you start doing impromptu speaking, so every time you choose to speak despite the fear, every time you organize a thought under pressure, or you just, survive through that situation safe, it tells your brain, as you say, it's called rewiring. It rewires your brain. Okay, I survived this. So that means impromptu speaking is not going to kill me. Something uncertain is not always going to kill me. I can survive this. And this just expands our mind. It makes it more confident, more adaptable. And then next time something like this happens, now your brain is not panicking. You know why? Because now it knows something. She can handle it. I can handle it as a brain. So don't worry. This is manageable. And that's where this whole neuroplasticity works in. And when we explain this topic to the kids, they are just, is this something possible like this? I'm like, yes, just give it some time. It is going to happen.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yes, exactly. The neuroplasticity, that's the key. It's so wonderful that they've discovered now, and then more and more people are learning this. I was curious if you have sort of some signs that you might describe, that if people do the practice, as Gloria was saying, yeah, we need to practice to build those neural pathways there. If someone was going to practice doing it, that I love that 1 minute that you suggested to do, because it's just small enough, that 1 minute that we could practice doing, and it's not insurmountable. And if we did that, Are there some signs that you could then like step back after, I don't know how long, maybe a month or something, and that you might ask yourself and you might notice that, oh my gosh, this is actually working and I'm changing? Shifts or something that people might check in to see if it's happening?
Yes, the shift is going to happen, as I was just mentioning earlier also. Once you start practicing on an everyday basis, maybe before going to bed, or you can do it before going to work in the morning. Just, pick that topic and, randomly speak about it. Best would be if you could record yourself, because then you would be able to track your progress. Initially
Mm,
it might seem very scary, how is, you might just land up speaking 20 seconds, and that might seem like eternity. Just 20 seconds I spoke. But, gradually, once you stop judging yourself so much, I think we are our biggest judges even before people judge us. So, once we stop judging and we are like, okay, the biggest thing here is stop looking for perfect answers. The problem with us humans, as Gloria was also saying, is we want everything to be so perfect. But life is not perfect. And somewhere we have to learn to respond more than just looking for perfection. So, over a period of time, maybe by the 30th day of the month, as you say, when you see that video, it is guaranteed there is going to be a difference. Maybe you might not reach 1 minute, but by 30 seconds, you will be there. And most importantly, the fear would have gone. Because now you know that, okay, I just have to attempt it. There's nobody sitting there to give me marks. Somehow, I think we have been trained from our childhood that, everything is as if, Gloria was saying, a performance. And, we're looking for marks, someone to mark us. Okay, you did amazing. Okay, you were like 100% so good. Why do you have to be perfect in every line?
Mm.
So, this somewhere teaches us to, somewhere come to being us, being yourself. And that's what impromptu speaking does to us.
yeah, yeah. It's so much like as I'm listening to you that this conversation is so much more than about speaking. It's about what is happening inside us with our nervous system, and when we can stop chasing that perfect answer and be more compassionate with ourselves and slowly start to build the trust, we build the new neural pathways and it starts to change things for our lives.
Yeah, I also want to acknowledge that from this last piece, that the possibilities that people might start to notice, I'm imagining, would be that they're not beating themselves up so much.
Hmm.
So their thoughts aren't going there. Or maybe their
Yeah.
body is more relaxed and they're actually maybe having a little bit more fun. Or they can notice a difference in the sound and the quality of their own
Mm.
voice. But those would be some really practical ways they could recognize, ooh, I must be having that neuroplasticity thing happening for me. Something like that.
Yes, of course, you got it right on, Gloria. And probably both of you should also take up the challenge for next 30 days and let me know how it went.
Yeah, that's right. I
Because
was
as
thinking
I was
about
just
that.
mentioning, something that was fear initially, it comes to a point where, you start enjoying it and you want to take it as, okay, let's see my, this time what is my brain coming up with, this time what is my brain thinking about it. And one very important thing I would like to mention here. Yes, we want our brain to be able to respond in situations. But, there's a very interesting thing that, our brain can respond only from the experiences that we've had. So
Hmm.
one of the best ways to be able to go through these uncertainties in life or all these impromptu speaking is to expose yourself to new content. Our brain is like a library. You might have known, since both of you seem so good with neuroscience and everything. Our brain is like a library. Every time we read a book, or we visit a new place, or maybe I experience a podcast with both of you. A new experience is formed in our minds. And whenever a sudden challenge comes, or some difficulty comes, our brain quietly goes and walks into that library of memories and starts looking, okay, have I seen something like this before? Has someone like in my known handled something like this? So it starts looking for these ideas on how to handle this. So, if we have not experienced new things, we will not be able to answer these, or find solution to these uncertain moments. So one of the biggest thing here as baseline for impromptu speaking is expose yourself to new experiences, new cultures, new cities, anything. Every day one new thing has to happen, as simple as that, to fill that library of yours.
What I love that you're pointing to, and let me see if this resonates with you, but what I'm hearing you're pointing to is rather than always relying upon your mind or your experiences, your memories, that you're actually encouraging people to develop their intuition. And I call that dropping down into your heart. And that's into your true sense of self, your true nature. And recognizing this is new, this is novel, and allowing yourself to receive the energy and information flow from life and make your meaning from that rather than predictions from the past. And that is a whole new way to live life. And it brings balance to the wholeness of the person rather than having to have predictability all the time. You can be spontaneous. Does that resonate with you?
Yes, in fact, that is exactly how this whole thing goes about. So, something new has to become a way of life. There was once this person called Deepak Shinde in my life who brought this whole thing of newness into my life, because until then, it was always like, I will only try things which I know are going to work out for me. I don't want to fail. I just don't want to, it is too much to take people's judgment. And that is when, this person came into my life after I graduated from college, and it's something he said just stuck. It's like, if you're not trying new things, you're not even living. Yeah, not necessary everything will just work out for you. Maybe sometimes it will tank, but that's all right. At least you experience something new. It's not the everyday get up, eat, sleep, repeat, coffee break.
Right.
Something new comes. One sudden hamburger has to come in between, or a sudden horse has to walk in. Something new has to come into your life for life to become worth living. And that's when we heal, is it or not? When something new happens, you feel okay. I lived this day to my fullest. Somewhere I healed, I did something good with my life. And I think that message is very close to my heart of trying new things. Though I'm still scared of bungee jumping, I still don't have the courage for it.
Now, there's some things I
Me
wouldn't have
either.
the courage for
But I've tried to
either.
apply.
Yeah. But it's as you're speaking then, about the, learning how to overcome the fear or not see the fear or not and be willing and interested and wanting to try new things. It brought forward this acronym that I've forgotten about for a while, but using the word fear, um, and if shifting it to see it as it's an acronym standing for false evidence appearing real. You probably heard that before, but it just came into my mind that yeah, this fear that's coming up, we're just seeing something that's false evidence appearing real. And it's just something that if we've got people around us too, that I think that really helps a lot if we've got that support. But just little teeny baby steps. And I love that 1 minute. I just think that's something that's so doable that you were suggesting that we could do 1 minute of trying a speech. And I love that you said about recording it too. That's really valuable. Yeah, thank you, Dipti.
And actually, all age groups can actually do it, starting from a young child of 5 years to a 60-year-old,
Oh, I
because
love
all
that.
of us need that, that confidence to go through life at every age. So,
Yeah, yeah.
That I'm going to do that with my granddaughter. She's 5, and that would be a fun game. Just make it into a game,
Mhm.
and I
in
think it
fact,
would
I
be.
love to make this chit box. Generally in my class, if kids come, I make a chit box with 30 topics. So every class, there's this one activity where they have to come pick a chit, and some topic will come and they have to speak about it. Or it might be a single word and they have to say something for at least 30 seconds. And it becomes a fun thing. They love it as a
Yeah.
race who spoke more. And in this whole process, you're learning to speak and you're learning to handle uncertainties, because now it is exciting. You're not scared anymore. And tomorrow, when in life something unexpected comes like this, also, again, you will see it as fun and not as fear. Most
Yeah,
of the time, unless something very serious, most of the time, I would say.
yeah. That's so great.
Yeah. Well, you did share that you wanted you want listeners to be able to stop chasing perfect answers and to really build that ability to respond. That shift from fear of not knowing to the confidence that they can handle whatever comes their way when they are able to pause. And what would you most love for our listeners to remember from this conversation?
Two things. Somehow, again, my life in two steps. So, first is, of course, however silly it might seem, take the impromptu speaking very seriously. In
Mm.
terms of, take it as a life skill. Make a chit box or, just practice one topic a day and see yourself looking at life in a more positive way than living it out of fear. So you can actually apply that tool. And as far as children are concerned, especially for parents as a message, we are always looking, as Gail was also saying, we're looking for ways where we can make them more confident and, more expressive in terms of their emotions. So, there's something called as no interrupting listening. Since we are parents, we have this tendency that, okay, I should correct my child, my son, my daughter. If I don't, who will? So, the parents could actually try this no interruptive listening, where you just let the child maybe ask them about how their day was, and just listen uninterrupted without stopping them, without correcting maybe their grammar or anything. And this leads to the children developing this confidence, and they feel like expressing themselves, and that is the first step to confidence. It has to start at our homes. As parents, we are the first stage for it, and that after that is when the world stage comes, or any other place, school or college comes. So practice the listening.
Yeah, well, I love that you mentioned that because I'm imagining when parents, I know for myself, for me to want to correct my child is based on my own fear from my own past experiences. And I haven't even recognized that. So that's an important thing to bring forward. So thank you for that very practical invitation for parents to begin to recognize that in their own life and in their relationships with their children.
Yeah. Oh, Dipti, thank you so much. This has been such a meaningful conversation and so practical, really practical and also deeply human. Gloria and I were very grateful for the work you're doing and what you've shared with us today and the way you're helping people build confidence from the inside out. And we were just wondering, how could people get a hold of you? What's the best way to get a hold of you if they'd like to follow up?
Yes, so you can look me up on LinkedIn. I'm there, and my email address is also there. Or you could just type in Kothari Jain in Google. I'm sure you'll be able to find me there, or Speaking Ninja Academy. Both is good to go. But thank you again, both of you, for having me. And honestly, since this is new, I was a little scared. But you people have made me feel very warm and human, and I really enjoyed because it resonated. And I'm going to wait for those videos of yours after 30 days. What? How
Oh,
did
I
it
love
go?
that. Oh, it has been such a joy to be with you. I'm so grateful that you reached out and that we got to have this conversation. We'll have to have you back around again for another round as time progresses and you have more insights and it'd just be fun to follow up and see how things have gone.
Yeah, I think there's
Yes,
much more to that we could explore.
Oh, yes.
yes,
Yeah. And
yes,
so, oh, yeah, listeners,
yes.
if this conversation supported you, we'd love for you to follow the show, leave a review, or share this important episode with someone who is learning to trust their voice a little more fully, children or adults.
Yeah. And the next time on the Healing You Method podcast, we'll be joined by Maggie Miner for a conversation about intuitive feng shui, where the subconscious impact of our surroundings and how our homes can either reflect who we truly are or they quietly pull us away from ourselves.
Oh, that's going to be interesting. We will
Yes,
be,
actually.
it will, yeah. You'll have to join, you have to come and listen, Dipti.
I
Um,
sure will.
We are going to explore what it means to trust your intuition in the spaces you live and work in, and how even small shifts in your environment can support clarity, alignment, and a deeper sense of self.
So until then, take gentle care of yourself and remember that all healing is relational.